What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. That is right, guys. We are here to talk about The Warriors on 4K, another fantastic 4K edition release from Arrow Video. Look at this thing, a nice big chunky box set. Arrow Video, guys, look, I gush about them all the time on this channel, but they really truly knocked it out of the park in 2023. And this is the cherry on top of the already fantastic, delicious chocolate hot fudge sundae that Arrow Video has been delivering to us all year long. Like, they've just been doing some incredible releases, and this is the cap, I feel like, to that incredible year for Arrow Video. So we're going to talk about The Warriors. Is this big box set edition worth picking up? We're going to dive into it. I'm going to give my thoughts on the movie itself. This was a second time watch. I had seen this movie before, but I had never seen the theatrical cut, so that was a first time watch. I also watched the director's cut, so I did watch both versions in 4K, so I'm going to give my thoughts on the picture quality as well, the sound, the special features. We're going to do an unboxing. I'm going to paint the overall picture. Is The Warriors worth picking up? I was a little bit taken aback by Arrow Video announcing this. I did not expect it. I kind of expected that Paramount would do it at some point. So yeah, very surprising they did The Warriors on 4K. So let me know your thoughts on the film. Do you love it? Are you getting this edition? In the comments section below. And like I said, this 4K edition from Arrow Video is available. It's on Amazon. I'll link it down below in the description if you want to get it. There's also a Blu-ray big box set edition if you don't care about the 4K. I will also link that down below. It's the exact same packaging, and there is an Arrow Video site exclusive which has the original poster on it, so I will also link that down below if you want to grab that. That one's kind of limited. It may sell out, so you might want to jump on it if you enjoy that cover. But with that out of the way, let's talk about The Warriors, the actual film itself from 1979, directed by the legendary director Walter Hill, which the more stuff I see of Walter Hill, like, the more I just really enjoy and am growing to love that director. 48 Hours is an incredible movie, and I would argue it's way better, miles better than Beverly Hills Cop. People don't like it when I say that, but it is if you're talking about Eddie Murphy, cop, buddy cop type movies. I love 48 Hours. The Warriors is incredible. Streets of Fire, I watched for the first time, I think a couple years ago. Loved that movie as well. Willem Dafoe's great in it. So the more I see of Walter Hill, and I've seen more stuff, I just can't think of it off the top of my head, the more I really enjoy from that director. He just has such a grit to his style and such an energy to all the movies that he makes, and I feel like that's perfectly encapsulated in The Warriors. So I have this 2021 Blu-ray release right here, which just has the unrated director's cut, ultimate director's cut, sorry, on it. So the theatrical cut I'd never seen before, and I got a chance to watch the theatrical cut for the first time. And there's really not a ton of differences to the actual movie and story or anything like that. Really, all it is they inject these kind of comic book strips into the film. And Walter Hill said that was always his original vision, because the movie is based on a comic, was to kind of make it have it more of a comic book feel, kind of pages turning and kind of panning out and going into different scenes. He always envisioned that, just never quite knew how to pull that off. So I really enjoyed my watch of it back in, I believe, 2021 is when I watched it for the first time. But my knowledge from The Warriors really comes from the video game that came out back in the early 2000s on Xbox and I think PS2 as well. Played that game, really enjoyed the game, and I remember the trailer to that. It had all the iconic lines, "Can you dig it?" and "Warriors come out to play." That was all in the trailer, so I feel like I knew this movie and what it was before I watched it. But when I watched it, I was like, okay, this is pretty good. I enjoyed it. But rewatching it, the theatrical edition, which is honestly probably my preferred way to watch the film, I don't mind the comic book stuff, but I honestly just like the more, real, raw, gritty version of The Warriors. I don't want to be reminded that it's based on a comic and all that when I'm watching it. I like the more grounded version of the film. That makes more sense. But this movie is really growing on me a lot. And when I watched it this time, and in 4K, it really helped. We'll get into that here in a second. But I don't know, I grew to really love this movie in a way that I hadn't the first time I watched it. And I don't know, I just really love the world building in this film, like it creates this almost like futuristic alternate reality in which, and it's set in New York City, but you have this almost like alternate universe where all these gangs exist within New York City. And it's this whole like culture that is definitely like rooted in reality, but it's also like hyper stylized and fictionalized for this world. And I just love the world building involved in this film. And you have all of these different gangs and they all feel very different and very unique. And a part of that is the costume design by, I'm trying to think of her name that did the costume design. Her name's on the back, Bobby Mannix, who did the costume. I listened to her special feature, and the costume designs really provide such a unique aesthetic to this film and really just elevate it, because all of the gangs in this film just feel extremely unique and identifiable, and that really adds to the film. So you have the Warriors, and all of these gangs start off in this big like amphitheater type setting, and you have this gang leader, or the guy who's trying to bring all the gangs together to unite them against the cops and take over this city, and he's trying to unite them all together. And the leader is assassinated in the very beginning of the movie. Cyrus is assassinated by the villain group of the film, but immediately, since nobody sees who actually shoots him, they pin it on the Warriors and call them out as the ones who assassinated this leader. So throughout the film, you have the Warriors just trying to get home, and they're battling all these gangs who think they're responsible for assassinating this leader. So it is a group backs against the wall having to fight all these gangs, you know, to ultimately clear their name and get home. And I just love it. There's such a vibe. There's such a grit to the film. I love how the film feels very 80s, even though it was made back in 1979. It has that 80s feel and aesthetic. Just the music of the film has a very 80s style to it. And then all the costumes and it kind of being this futuristic setting, it just feels like it almost takes place in the 80s, but the filmmaking and the style of the film of Walter Hill feels very 70s as well. So it feels kind of like that bridge between the 70s and the 80s, just stylistically. So I really appreciate that about the movie also. And I love all the performances. Everybody in the Warriors is awesome. I totally buy them as these like badasses that could just take on everybody. Totally buy them as the badasses. I love James Remar. He's great in a lot of things, but he's really good in this movie. And the leader, which I haven't seen in a ton of stuff, I think his name is Michael Beck. I think he's really great in the movie as well. And I also appreciate the romance that the movie tries to bring in about halfway through between the leader of the Warriors and the character of Mercy. And it doesn't feel forced. Even in a movie like this, it kind of does come out of nowhere. And I feel like in most movies, this type of romance that they try to throw in, I wouldn't appreciate, I wouldn't enjoy, because it would just feel forced and kind of like they were trying to fulfill a quota. But it doesn't feel forced at all. It feels completely natural. Both of these characters feel like characters that are just trying to find their place in the world and are coming together under these extreme circumstances. And I really enjoy that aspect of the film as well. So the movie just really hit for me this time watching it. And I would honestly, I'd give it like a 4.5 out of 5 if I was rating it. And it's just moving up for me on my list every time I watch this movie. And I watched it twice. I watched the theatrical cut and I watched the director's cut. And I enjoyed both watches and viewing experiences. Again, it's just a movie that I can totally see this film, like rewatching it, it becoming like one of my all-time favorites. There's just something about this film. It's such a vibe, and just the style of it I really enjoy. So The Warriors is an absolutely fantastic, iconic film from the late 70s, 1979. I would definitely recommend the movie. But let's get into the actual 4K and the picture quality here. So this is a native 4K restoration. You got Dolby Vision, you got HDR10, and what can you say about Arrow Video at this point? They just don't miss. I think I've had an issue with maybe one of their 4Ks this year, and that was Weird Science, and that was more of a personal preference than anything. It was still a good 4K, but like The Warriors, I'm going to say it right now, and I know we're getting to the end of the year, and it feels like I've been saying this a lot lately, in particular about Arrow Video, but I just love them so much, and they do such a great job. But this, to me, reminded me, when I watched this on 4K, it reminded me a lot of how I felt about Roadhouse from Vinegar Syndrome on 4K last year. I was like, I watched it and I was like, just something clicked with me when I was watching it. It was so beautiful. It was so natural. It was so filmic. It looked so incredible. The clarity on this 4K was incredible. And there's so much detail in this film when it comes to the costumes and the setting, and just everything about this movie and the way it looks visually in 4K is just absolutely fantastic. But watching this, I was thinking to myself, is this the best 4K that I've seen in 2023? Because I'm kind of thinking it is. It just looks so good. It blew me away watching this. And I felt the same way when I was watching Barbarella, and Witness looked fantastic. And Arrow's just done great work all year long. But I really feel like this is the capper on the incredible year that is 2023, and really kind of in a year where they've done Psycho 4K collection, Hellraiser 4K collection, Carlito's Way, The Witness, so many incredible releases, the Empire of Screams box set, which is Blu-ray, not 4K. They've done so many, The Last Starfighter, Weird Science, so many incredible releases, like All Your Tremors 2 I thought was incredible. But in a year with all these incredible releases, this felt like, to me, the grand finale of Arrow Video in 2023, and really the stamp on the year, and just kind of like staking their claim as the best boutique physical media distributor in all of physical media right now. I just think that Arrow Video is on top of the world. Studios, boutique labels, nobody is touching them, and it's because of the work that they do with their 4K restorations. And the Warriors in particular, I just thought looked so fantastic and incredible. And the costumes, like I said, are just awesome. The actual, like, just the look of the Warriors vests in 4K, just the clarity of that. And you could just really, it just really looked like you could reach out and touch it like it was real. And they're maroon, and they just look so good with that HDR contrasted with the skin tones of them as well. But the close-up shots on the faces were fantastic. Some of the other outfits, like the group that has the purple vests, those look so good in 4K, and the subway station looks so great. And the ending on the beach, like that whole sequence just looked fantastic in 4K. Everything about this was just awesome. I just thought the 4K looked so incredible. So I cannot say enough good things about this release. Visually, the Warriors on 4K, guys, is just one of the standout releases of 2023. Just such a great clarity to it. The grain structure is just immaculate. Like I said, it has that nice filmic, gritty feel and look to it. Just the movie in general, that does anyway, just because of how it was made stylistically. But on 4K, it just looks so incredible, and I cannot say enough good things about the work that Arrow Video did here. They did such a fantastic job on the Warriors on 4K. Now, getting into the sound, you have Dolby Atmos here. You have Dolby True HD 7.1, and that is the first time, to my knowledge, that they added Dolby Atmos and Dolby True HD 7.1. And the default, I believe, is the mono, the 2.0, so that is probably the preferred viewing method of this movie. I don't feel like this needs the Atmos, but it's always appreciated when they add those extra audio options. So I listened to this primarily with the 2.0, but when I switched it to the Atmos, it sounded great as well. It still sounded really good. I just don't know if you need that for this particular film. There's a lot of great action set piece moments in the movie, but that's not really what the movie is at its core. So really great sound though throughout. I had no issue with the sound. Now getting into the packaging, guys, I know that some people have expressed that they do not like the artwork on this. I'll say this, it's not my favorite artwork that Arrow's done in 2023, but I think it's solid. I think it's cool. You know, it's the subway station aesthetic. That's the door right there with the writing and graffiti on it. So, and you kind of look through the window and you can see the Warriors. I like it. I understand the idea behind it. I think it's really just kind of the ugly green that kind of takes away from it for me. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but it's still a really good look and a really good box set. But I'll flip it over right there. And you got the synopsis. You do have 2 discs with this set, which we'll talk about here in a second when we get into the special features. And you go down to the bottom, you can see all the specs. I'll try to zoom in there. But the thing that I like about the direction that Arrow Video is going in with some of their releases is they're starting to add slipcovers to their box sets, so you can take this release out, which most of the Arrow releases are just the box set, which is fine. But I do like that extra added layer of protection to go over top to kind of protect the box set better. But you have the same artwork, you know, right here, only on the back, you have the reverse of the door with all the gangs on the other side of the window, which is definitely cool. Let's go ahead and take this stuff out. You do have a nice booklet with tons of information on the film inside, tons of images. And it's a very interesting, fascinating story hearing the people talk about working on this movie and after it came out and the cultural impact and how it was pulled from theaters like 3 weeks after it came out. So this movie has a very interesting story, but you also get a cool poster that's usually the Arrow Video standard, double-sided. You have the new artwork and you have the original theatrical poster. And then inside, right here, you have the 2 discs. So you do not get a Blu-ray with this, which is kind of a negative when it comes to Arrow Video at this point, because I do want the option to be able to watch it on Blu-ray if I want. Now, of course, I do have the director's cut on Blu-ray, and I'll probably keep that just in case I want to watch it in a different room where I don't have a 4K player. You just want those options. More than likely, every time I watch the Warriors is going to be on 4K, but you want those options for sure. So kind of disappointing when they only do 4K, but both of these discs are 4K. You get the director's cut on 4K, you get the theatrical cut on 4K. I like the disc art right there as well. And then inside here, you have tons of cards, photo cards, but we also have something else really cool that I'll show off in a second. I like the backs of the cards as well. The artwork on that I think is really cool. And bam, bam, bam. And right here, you have tons of stickers with all the logos for the different gangs, which is really freaking awesome and cool. So we'll kind of go through those real quick. So if you want to learn more about the gangs and all that, you have the Warriors symbol right there. My favorite is the Orphans. I like the Orphans. they're my favorite gang other than the Warriors. But the Furies are awesome too. But yeah, just a cool movie. This is such a cool movie that kind of builds in all of this lore. Like you could do a ton with the Warriors. Like if you wanted to build out like an entire universe, but the fact that they didn't do that, I kind of like as well. But I just feel like you could adapt the Warriors and do some kind of like TV series with multiple seasons and make it like an HBO thing or something, and it would be awesome. Does anybody else agree with that? But you do have reversible cover art right here as well. And there's nothing like the original Warriors poster. Like I totally get it if you want to get the Warriors Arrow exclusive artwork, because it's just awesome. So the original poster for the Warriors is the reversible right there, which is definitely really cool. But yeah, a lot of stuff comes with this package, and this is going for $41.99. So it's good that they included all this extra stuff, because that is a little bit pricey, but it's the Warriors after all, and you get 2 films essentially on 4K here. Now, getting into the special features, there's a lot of great features here, a lot of great new special features here. You have a brand new interview with the director, and I just love Walter Hill. He just feels like such a down-to-earth guy, and he's not going to BS you. He's going to tell you what happened when he made the film. He's going to tell you everything. He tells you the whole story in about 15 minutes. So it's a great new interview with the director. You also have a really interesting hour-and-a-half roundtable discussion with different directors and writers. You have the guy who wrote A History of Violence. You have a female director who directed Green Street Hooligans. You have the guy who directed The Man Who Killed Hitler and then Bigfoot, which I did not really enjoy that movie, but it's cool to have different filmmakers that all love the Warriors sit down and discuss the movie and what it meant to them and their careers and how it inspired them and what they do today. There's a bunch of other new interviews and special features. You have a new interview with the costume designer Bobby Mannix, which was super awesome to hear her talk about the film and how Walter Hill just kind of let her do whatever she wanted. She created all these incredible costumes and designs. You have a new interview with the editor, which is a really cool interview. You have a new exclusive look at the costume designs. You have Sound of the Streets, a new appreciation of composer Barry D. Vorzin, and the music of the Warriors by film historian Neil Brand. You have isolated score option, come out to play a new look at the iconic locations of the Warriors' Coney Island home turf. Which is kind of like almost like a YouTube video where just the guys walking around showing you all the different locations of Coney Island. You do have all the archival stuff that was on this Blu-ray release right here, which is 4 featurettes: The Beginning, Battleground, The Way Home, and The Phenomenon. What is not included here, I'm sure some people had this question, there was an Imprint release from Australia that came out last year, and there were new interviews. I think one was with James Remar, and that one, there were all new interviews with that release. Those are not present in this release. So if you do have the Imprint set, just know that you're not going to get those special features with this release, but you are getting new features. So it's kind of annoying that you don't have all the features that there have ever been for the Warriors in one nice location or set. But I guess it makes owning the Imprint release worthwhile for those who bought it, and then this 4K came out. At least you had those new features that are not present on any other releases. So, but the features here are great. Like I said, that Walter Hill interview for about 15 minutes is awesome. And like I said, I just love Walter Hill for sure. He's a director that's really growing on me. And the Warriors itself is a film that is just really growing on me. So guys, look, I cannot recommend The Warriors on 4K enough. This is a fantastic release. This is a best of the year release to me. This may be in my top 10 4Ks of 2023. Absolutely loved it. Like I said, you can get it for $41.99. I will link that down below. And I think the Blu-ray edition is $27.99. Like I said, you can get the Arrow exclusive artwork as well. I will link all those down below in the description. But thank you all so much for watching my review of The Warriors on 4K. Like this video, comment down below your thoughts on this release, whether or not you're going to pick it up, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Turn on those bell notifications and follow me on all my social media accounts. Those links are down below in the description, and we'll see you next time.